Welcome back, guys. And yes, we're straight off and running with a time lapse. How about that? No messing around. And we're getting to work on that little waterfall idea that I had. But I've decided, rather than doing like a full-blown waterfall that I was going to do before, I'm trying to be minimalist with the particle effects, because I know I'm going to be using like loads of them. So like where I can save some, I kind of need to. So I came up with this idea. Now this idea with the mermaids was an idea that I've been playing around with for a while, but I kind of couldn't get something that I liked. And then I was playing around in R&D, in research and development this morning, and I thought, yeah, I wonder if I can come up with something. So I had a little play around, and it kind of clicked what I wanted to do. And what kind of clicked it was dropping them down into like a little alcove area. And then, well, you'll see how it develops, but it kind of, as soon as I dropped them down, it just kind of clicked. And I thought, yeah, cool. And then everything kind of flowed. You know, putting those little conifers, those little miniature conifers behind them, and then covering up the front, obviously, with some Skyvola, because we put Skyvola on everything. They like, seriously, I mean, they've given us a bunch of new vegetation options, but like, we need more because there are so few. It's why I really wish they'd included the ivy. You know that ivy that was on that like castle building? Like, come on, guys, we desperately need that ivy. Oh, by the way, for all of you who like, and there have been quite a few people who've left comments saying, "Oh, that wasn't ivy. That was another thing sticking through the building." No, it wasn't, because people have actually taken like the walls away to look and see what's behind that building, and it's a different type of plant. So yeah. Anyway, what the hell? So yeah. So as soon as this idea clicked, like everything else just seemed to kind of flow. So like I threw on the Skyvola, and then I was like, how can we dress this up a little bit? And I was thinking, well, these will look nice at night if we put these on. But I must admit, it's like as soon as I put them on, I was kind of in two minds. I mean, this is going to look nice with the lighting that we've got anyway. So I'm not quite sure if those are going to stay like in the long term or not. I'm still really in two minds. I mean, you'll see how this develops, but I'm still kind of really in two minds. I must admit, I'm having a bit of a two minds kind of day. Like everything I was playing around with today, I was like, yeah, should I do it like this? Should I do it like that? But to be honest, when that's happening, I never complain when that's happening, because as long as I'm having ideas, like I'd rather have too many ideas than not enough. And the fact that I've got like literally I've got too many ideas right now is a really good thing, because it means that I'm excited about it. It means the ideas are flowing, the juices are flowing. Now, okay, right, this is something that I've been wanting to do for ages, but I've had a problem with it. Now, a few episodes ago, I said that they'd broken my rotation trick, and they kind of have and they haven't, right? And I'm desperately looking here to find a way of making it work. Now, the issue that I thought had broken it was the fact that it was the snap to surface, right? And if you take the snap to surface off, as you will see right now, I think, you can, here you go, you can make it rotate and get your rotated thing. But there's a problem, because that's not good enough for me, right? Just being able to do that's great, right? But I want to be able to duplicate them, which means you've got to be able to, and you see, when I tried to duplicate it, it didn't work, right? So then I did it manually. This takes a little bit of time. And the reason I've put these tiles in is just so that I know that I've got 6. 6 rows of 4 is 24. Now you need to put together, to make one of these circular rotated designs, you need 24 of whatever model you're using. And then what I did was took them one by one, put them into place, and then rotated them. Now, this part is actually speeded up more than the rest of the video, because this took a while. The thing is that, like, in the long term, because I want to use quite a few of these fountains, I mean, I think I'm going to use at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm going to use, like, at the very least 8 of these fountains. And so I thought, you know what? And I may use a lot more than that. So I thought, I think it's probably worth investing the time to get one that I can duplicate. But man, it's a pain. But what I did was, like, if you try and position them, like, just like when there's a whole bunch already there, it's very difficult. If you put one out in front, which is aligned at least in one plane, the right way, so that, like, I line it up with that one and then move it back in, and then I found that if I aligned it, like, with the cutlass, that if you look at his hand on the left hand side, I'm lining it with that guy, then moving it back and lining it up with that cutlass hand, and then all I need to do is just rotate it one click, and boom, done. And the next one. And by this point, I'd actually kind of got it down so that it was actually pretty easy. But the first, well, it's kind of like the first time with anything, when you're trying to figure out a new technique. It takes a while, but once you get it, it's not too bad. So there you go. I put the last piece in. Now at this point, I didn't know whether this would duplicate or not, but cha-ching, it duplicates. Now originally I was just going to put it in the center, right? But the Skye was sticking out a bit far, so I like moved it back. But I still, at this point, had the idea of just putting one of these as like a semicircle in the center, like that, right? And then I started looking, and I thought, man, that looks good on the corners. So I thought, well, what if you had 2 on the corners and had like little fountains, little semicircular fountains coming out? And then I thought, well, hang on, what if you had 3, right? And then I was like, my brain overloaded, and I was like, I can't decide what's better, like 1, 2, or 3. And I tried putting it in place and having a look and thinking, yeah, like what? And then I took it up to one of the tiers, and I was like, what about there? Like, what would look better? 1, 2, or 3? I don't know. So in the end, I was like, you know what? I'll go and do something else, and I'll come back to it, which is what I always do when I can't make my mind up. It's like, go do something else, come back, have a fresh look, and see how you feel. Now this was something that I played around again with in R&D this morning, and I freaking love this idea. What I'm doing now is creating a bit which is actually going to be like a roof section, as you will see. So I've got a couple of the what the hell are they called? I can't remember what the hell they're called. The roof pieces. We'll call them roof pieces. And then I'm going to put a couple of these railings, one on either side, and then I'm going to put another couple of those roof pieces on top. Now the thing is, because of the way I'm doing this, the positioning needs to be absolutely like pixel perfect, because these pieces are exactly 1 tile long. So because I'm not overlapping them, they need to butt up to each other absolutely exactly, so that when I stack lots of them together, there are no gaps or seams or anything like that. So I took a lot of time over the positioning of this, because potentially this piece is going to get used quite a lot. And also, if you look at this while I'm doing it, I also found that this makes a really nice bench, like a double bench. So I think we're going to be seeing this as a bench as well. I didn't realise until, like, you'll see in a minute or so, when I put the pillars around it and stuff, and I leave that bit down the bottom. it just makes a really nice little seating area, especially if you put like a couple of plants or something at the ends. It just kind of works. So here I am just messing around, like trying to get it absolutely pixel perfect, which I did eventually, and then saved a little copy. Now I put the pillars in. Now can you imagine that little bench thing in between those pillars, which I think it actually ends up there at some point, because eventually I had this idea and thought, hang on, would that work as a bench? And it kind of does. Now this is where we get clever, guys. Now remember, this is the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. So I thought, hang on a second, how about if we actually start having some hanging plants and whatever. So I had this idea, and this gets a little bit more complicated than it is now, but you'll kind of see where I'm going with it. So it's a fairly simple idea, but I found using these red bushes that these red bushes kind of stack together well. They really kind of blend into each other, and I think it's maybe because they're just like a slightly darker colour, and they just work. So what I'm doing now is angling them all at 45 degrees, and then kind of positioning them to create a little bit of a canopy on the top, and then at each end it's going to be kind of like growing down the pillars. So it's kind of like well, I guess it's like a vine, I guess you'd say. Yeah, it's like a viney thing. Yeah, there you go. Quote. There's my quote for today. Kinda like a viney thing. Skye 2016. So, yeah, and as you can see, again, this took a little bit of time because you're individually positioning them. Now you could put them in the right alignment, right? And then just like plop them in, boom, 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 really quickly and really easily. Just you plop one and then you just drag the next one along and plop it, drag the next one along. The problem is if you do it that way, they don't adhere to the building, so they don't duplicate. That's the problem. So that's why I'm manipulating every one of these individually, which is a bit of a pain, and I wish the developers could like change it so that you didn't have to do that. But hey, it is what it is. As long as there is a mechanism whereby I can duplicate them, then I'm happy. Now here, I was trying to like copy one more section because you actually need a four long section, but I found that the plants are kind of difficult to copy around. They kind of want to get in on the action, so eventually I just had to copy it and then just like delete everything around it, which I found I like. The more I did this, the more I found that was the case. So you kind of just have to live with it. So now I'm going to do a couple of different variations, trying different ideas out, because I like the red. I like the dark red plant. Oh, now here's where we add some real hanging plants, and I'm just going to adjust these and kind of get them into position and just lift them up a little bit so that they kind of look like they're growing out of that, like whatever the hell it is. And I don't know what you guys think, but I think it looks pretty effective when it's done. At least when I get it in the right place, I think it works kind of well. I'll be interested to see what your comments are on that, because I can imagine some people being kind of split on it. Now this worked better than I ever imagined. Literally just a couple of these bushes back to back and then kind of glued together. If you get the positioning right so that they're like right above the columns, I think they look awesome. Like really, really effective. And then I thought, well, what about the bases of the pillars? Because I'm not doing anything with the bases of the pillars. So then I just had a bit of a mess around, to be honest. This isn't something that I'd played around with in R&D, and I was just playing around with different ideas of kind of like what looks good, like what would work, what wouldn't work, what colours go together, what don't. Do the planters work? And like, at the end of it, I didn't really come away with like a clear idea. Well, you'll see. I did end up using one of them. Well, we're coming to the end of the time lapse now. With me kind of playing around with a few random kind of objects, which all ended up getting deleted. Like that got deleted in the end. But yeah, now it's time to hand you back for some live action. Okay, so with that done, let's have a little play around with these now. So, what I've kind of got in mind is maybe, and we're spitballing here. We're just kind of playing around and seeing how things look. I was wondering if we bring this over here. Now, this will fit kind of perfectly on these little circle bits. So if we drop this down to the level of the path. Oh, that's kind of interesting. And interesting. Not sure. And these ones, I really like these. And I'm gonna have to play around and see what kind of works and what doesn't work. And I kind of like the simplicity of this one. Obviously, I've got to figure out like end pieces and stuff for this, but shouldn't be a problem because we should just be able to cover this up with some red bushes, which should actually work kind of well. So that will go there, and then there, and then there. Ooh, it's quite majestic, isn't it? I think it's quite Hanging Gardens of Babylon-y, don't you think? So I'm going to flip you around, and actually, no, we don't. That's exactly the way we want you. So you would go there, and you would go there, and you would go oh, no, close, but no biscuit. You would go there. So we're building like this kind of trellis kind of thing going on. I really like the way these work, don't you? Man, I keep banging on about it, but man, they do look good. So that's this kind of entrance area. I'm gonna have to play around with that offline and kind of see how I feel about that. I have to play around with a few things. Obviously, these ends need to be trimmed off, so you kind of need to be looking at this side, and these ends need to be covered up and stuff. So, like, let's just take this, and let's have a little play around with this. So now, where would I use this kind of thing? Well, for example, like down here, you could use something like this. So, flip this around. Now, we'd need one of those on the end, so we'll kind of... Yeah, and we haven't really got the spacing for it. Although, actually, you know what? Let's flip this around. How does it look if you put it behind this? No, it's too busy. It's too busy if you put it behind there. No, don't like that. What about if we used it for the frontage? Ooh, now that has some interesting potential. That is interesting. Like, obviously we'd remove these pillars. Now, on these inner terraces, which is this is what I was kind of thinking of when I started this silliness. So we then take this, duplicate it, boom, duplicate it again. Ooh, now we've gone too far. Oh no, that's right. That's right. Oh, that's actually working out. My God, something's going right. So it's kind of like almost like an open pavilion around here. Let's get the terrain and sort the terrain out a little bit, because it's kind of hard to see like what the hell's going on. So yeah, I've got push on. Let's just strip this terrain back so we can see this properly. And there we go. That's not too bad, is it? I really like these, just these flowers kind of there. I do wonder though if we don't need some more of the hanging stuff going on. I'm fairly sure that when I come to do these frontages on kind of the main building, there might be a lot of that going on. I gotta say, that's quite pretty. That is quite pretty. All right. Well, before we go any further, I want to do. Well, before we go any further, I mean before we end the episode, because it's taken quite a long time to do that stuff. I wanted to have a play around with the fountain area. Now, one thing that I have noticed as I've been looking at this is that because of the way I've got the trees, like every third one, right? But you've got pillars every two. It actually doesn't match up here, which like when you're looking at the whole thing, it kind of doesn't. It's okay, it's fine, but it kind of doesn't work when you're trying to do this. And I'm wondering if I was to put them every 4, whether it would work better. Yeah. Okay, so then we could have this correct. In that case, this actually needs to move over 1 to be in the center. All right, assuming that we do that, let's get rid of that tile and that tile. We'll get rid of this. Okay, so now I want to put, where is it? This in here. And I've got to make a final decision on what I do with this piece. And I honestly, at this stage, don't know. I am really torn between the 3 options. I'm torn between having 1, 2 or 3. Because they all look good. So, like, having the 1 in there is nice. But they look so good on the corners. Ay. Well, fortunately, I don't have to make like a final decision at this point, because I can always add those afterwards. And in fact, I want to put some particle effects. I want to put some water features like spray. I want some of them coming out like in a semicircle or something, just to give it a bit of variation. Because at the moment everything's straight lines, and I want to kind of vary it a bit. So you know what? Let's put that tile back for now. So we're going to take out this little mermaid and particle effect and that, and then I guess we're going to strip this stuff back. Okay, let's see what you look like in situ. So, pop you back. Oh, no, we need... I'm going to have to put an extra couple of walls in. Okay, and an extra couple of floor tiles as well. So, you go there, don't you? That's actually at the right height as well. My God, wonders will never cease. Now, I have wondered about bringing this out slightly. And I'm in two minds about that as well. Because I think if you bring it forward, it just kind of makes it more of a feature. And I'm now looking at the path and thinking, well, you know, like if I brought this forward and then moved the path forward as well, yeah, I've got a sneaky suspicion this is really going to screw things up. But like, I kind of like it. I kind of like screwing things up. So I don't know, like, how is this going to work? So I guess we need to remove that section of path. God, this has gone from, oh yeah, just slot this in, to like a major thing. Yeah, let's take you back one more. So where would you go? So you would go there. Okay, alrighty. This is actually going to have to be, I think, a time lapse, because this is far more complicated doing this than I thought it was going to be. It's going to be cool though, I think, when it's done. You know what? Let's pop those two tiles back. Let's try and get this so we can see what it's going to look like. So pop those back in there. So this is going to have a couple of these on the top. And then we're going to have to bring this wall kind of out to be like a balcony. And there and there. I was like, the idea that I had in mind was to create like a little balcony. But I am looking at this and thinking, you know, if I did this 3 wide, this would be so much easier. Although, hang on a second, what about if we just got rid of that to make like a little balcony area like that? Ah, this might work. This might work. I'd need to move these pillars. All right, I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there. Oh, I freaking love it. I freaking love it. So if we put a railing there, now it won't join up to the center. Can you freaking believe that? Now I could do like that. Which isn't the worst, I will confess. That's not like the worst thing in the world. But like, what? Like, why wouldn't it just join up to the middle like I wanted it to? Ah, it's so frustrating. Okay, well, there you go. So that would be the idea, and then we'd have this coming out in a little rectangle around there. That is kind of the plan, and this would be a little bit wider, and there'd be a bit more water in there. So yeah, but you can see it's quite a lot of fussing around just to make a little change like that. So yeah, I think we'll do one there and one over that side, and then we'll use the same kind of thing. This piece will be used here for a fountain there, and I think there'll be one on the other side. I think there's going to be at least variations of them on all of these frontages, or at least up to the second tier. I think once we get up to this other building, then I think it'll be different. There's bits of terrain that I need to clean up. Alrighty, guys. So yeah, I must admit, not quite as much progress. What? Well, no, I was going to say not quite as much progress as I thought. But in terms of like coming up with the design ideas and stuff, I'm really pleased with how we've done. When we come back for the next episode, I will have figured out exactly how I want things laid out. I will have figured out how I want this this little fountain to look. I don't know. Yeah, I've still got so many unanswered questions. I need to go back to R&D and kind of figure them out. And when we come back for the next one, I think you should have a nice, well, I think it should be quite a nice time lapse of me going around and putting all of these features in. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I will catch you for the next one. Peace out.